Welcome to another episode of The Fearless Four. This week's episode takes place in the coastal biome, specifically on a sandy beach off the East Coast. Coastal biomes are found on every continent and are loosely defined as any place where land meets sea or sea-related water. Here on The Fearless Four, we survive in different biomes for one whole week. Let's introduce the hosts and survival experts. This is Aiden, the plant expert. This is Arjun, the survival and hunting expert. This is Ethan, the climate and shelter expert. Finally, we have Eden, the animal expert.
So these are what we brought in our packs. What I brought is a tarp. There's a little book about coastal ecosystems, first aid kit, and some water.
I brought water, towel, sunscreen, and bug spray. I brought scissors, water, and a towel.
I didn't bring anything, but the bag looked cool.
On this globe, you can see that there are coastal biomes on all continents.
Alright, so let's get it together. What exactly are we working with?
Well, first we have to identify what kind of coastal biome we are. What do you mean?
Well, there's a few types of coastal biomes. There's things like mangroves, coral reefs, and white sandy beaches. So, white sandy beach?
Yeah, I think we're mainly looking at white sandy beach.
Yep. We should also look in the intertidal zone of the white sandy beach. Ethan, you know the climate. What's that looking like?
Well, coastal biomes can reach a low of negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit and a high of 100 degrees Fahrenheit. This biome probably has around a low of 50 degrees Fahrenheit and a high of 80 degrees Fahrenheit. It's pretty windy today. I guess that contributes to the weather too, right? Yeah, totally. But the water heats up slower than the land. As the sun rises, the difference between the water and land temperature increases.
Wait, Ethan, what is a sea breeze?
The ocean's cold temperature creates a high pressure zone and...
The land's high temperature creates a low pressure zone?
Exactly. So the high pressure zone from the water will come to the low pressure zone on the land.
Creating sea breeze. Wow, it all makes sense now, but it's a little humid. I'm kind of sweating right now.
Yeah, humidity is common in coastal areas. This is due to the high amount of water. We should probably see what kind of geography features there are. Yeah, some features are dunes, rocky areas, cliff peaks, and marine terraces. Yeah, over here I see a lot of sand. Yep, some beaches consist of rocks, others consist of sand.
Sand is a result of the process of erosion where wind carries little rocks to make sand.
The most common soil, sandy soil, is usually terrible for growing crops.
Why?
The fine grains of sand prevent aeration and are not permeable to nutrients. This makes it harder for plants to grow. Still, marine plants and terrestrial crops are still able to grow.
Alright, this is all good and stuff, but we need somewhere to settle.
Yeah, right there. We should build shelter there. I think we could all agree that food is our priority.
Yeah, we should probably hunt and gather before the sun sets. It's probably better to get food sooner than later.
No, what the heck? We should build a shelter, or else we're gonna get cold and starve.
Yeah, I think we should get building materials for a shelter. I'm not even that hungry. Shut up, eat and I'll beat your butt. Really? Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Come on, Arjun, let's go. We could get our own food. Yeah, we don't need
Let
your
them
help to build a
starve.
shelter anyway.
Yeah, let's go, Ethan. Alright, Aiden, let's do this. What are we doing?
You should know, you're the survival expert. Let's go find some food.
Okay. Are there some plants over there?
Whoa, good eyes. Those are sea rockets and beach peas. Eden and Ethan are missing out.
So, I'm hungry now. Can I eat them?
Well, actually, sea rockets are healthy to eat. Beach peas, on the other hand,
What about them?
eating too many can potentially cause paralysis. Yeah, the flora really interests me here.
What the heck is flora?
I thought you were a survival expert.
I am, but that's for like hunting and stuff. Tell me about this flora stuff. I'm gonna go make a spear.
Well, flora refers to the plant life in a specific region.
Uh-huh.
Actually, we should look into seagrasses. Those are the only true plants that permanently reside in the ocean, and they form dense underwater meadows that serve as protection and food to other organisms.
Let me guess, like crabs, turtles, fish, etc.
Yeah, exactly.
So, don't land plants get food from photosynthesis? Do marine plants do that too?
Yeah, actually. Algae is a plant-like produce that does go through photosynthesis. Speaking of which, kelp is a genre of algae that grows in cold water.
What does that do?
Well, kelp can grow over 200 feet in length. This length can be used as shelter for marine wildlife
and food for other organisms.
Speaking of food, I'm hungry. Let me show you how to catch some fish. Now we cook it.
How?
Well, first we need to light a fire.
I'm thirsty too, but isn't the ocean water dirty?
Yeah, that could be filled with all sorts of harmful bacteria. To avoid these, we must make a filtration system.
How? What will this do?
Well, having different layers will filter out impurities. For example, a layer of gravel will filter out things like twigs, whereas a layer of charcoal will filter out smaller impurities like chlorine. Together, they will filter and clean the water for us to drink.
Ethan, you see any materials to build a shelter over here?
I'm looking for some wood right now. Oh, look, birds.
Oh, those birds remind me of the fauna that live in a coastal environment.
What is fauna?
Fauna are basically all the animals that live in any given environment or ecosystem. In any given ecosystem, there are things called trophic levels. On the base of a trophic level are producers. In a coastal environment, producers are usually things like phytoplankton or other types of marine plants. Now, the primary consumers are the second level of trophic levels. Those can be krill or anything that eats plants, basically. And the secondary consumers, or the third trophic levels, are the things that eat those. So jellyfish and other smaller fish eat krill and other things that eat little plants. Crabs are an example of a secondary consumer. They eat krill, but another interesting thing about crabs is that they're omnivorous, so they can also act as primary consumers as well. Tertiary consumers are the things that eat the secondary consumers. So things like larger fish or anything that eats smaller fish or any other secondary consumer.
I've heard of things called quaternary animals. What are they?
So quaternary animals are anything that eat tertiary animals. So usually quaternary animals are things like apex predators or things that are huge and eat everything else. So like sharks or even birds.
Hold that. Let's go check it. Let's go build a shelter.
Finally, this shelter is finally built. These little walls are going to keep us warm throughout the night and protect from wind. But I don't know about you, but I'm so hungry, I think I could probably eat you.
You're kidding, right?
Nope, let's go find some food.
Look, there's plants. They must be edible.
We should probably eat them then.
Wow, Arjun, this fish is super good.
Yeah, I don't know much about animals, but we cooked it, and that's supposed to get rid of most harmful bacteria. We should be.
I'm full, but I'm pretty cold. What are we gonna do for the night?
Yeah, maybe splitting from Eden and Ethan wasn't such a good idea. They must be so cozy and warm right now.
You know what, Arjun? I'm freezing. I can't stand this anymore. Let's go find Eden and Ethan.
You know what? I guess we're going to have to eat these.
Yeah. No, don't eat those!
Yo!
What the heck are you guys doing here?
Actually, we kind of need you guys' expertise to survive.
No, we need to apologize. We cannot live without you guys.
Oh, shut up. Why can't I eat my peas? No, trust me. I'm looking out for you. Too many of those are gonna cause paralysis.
Yeah, he is. From now on, we work as a team. Would you guys like some leftover sea rockets and fish?
Yes, please.
Did you guys build a shelter while we were gone? Yeah, we did. It's over here. Come on.
This is a nice shelter, but it's getting kind of cold. We should build a fire.
Alright, but first, let's read a little book about the coastal ecosystem.
This part of the book talks about some of the abiotic and biotic factors in a coastal ecosystem. Temperature determines where and how organisms live. Too hot or too cold, then the organism dies. The oxygen level similarly determines what organisms can live in an area. Too much or too little, then an organism might die. The amount and quality of nutrients determines where organisms live. Where nutrients are more abundant, the more organisms live there. Solar energy is a big factor in any ecosystem. Solar energy is what allows producers to make food. If producers can't make food, then the organisms that feed off of those producers would die. Water clarity determines how much solar energy can reach marine plants. Now let's talk about the biotic factors. Marine plants are things like algae and seagrasses which photosynthesize. Nekton are any animals that swim like fish, sharks, and dolphins. Mollusks are soft-bodied invertebrates that might have a hard shell like clams and snails, and crustaceans are animals that have hard armors like lobsters.
That concludes this week's episode of The Fearless Four. Stay tuned for next week's crazy episode.